director of this production. A little story behind the production. Ed, our director of the workshop, had planned to produce 12 Angry Men, and he started asking people to see who was interested in being part of it. And he ended up with 7 or 8 women, and he said, "Whoa, wait a second." So he called me up and asked me if I would direct 12 Angry Women. So I took a look at that script, and it's pretty much what it's very, very dated, and I wasn't happy with it. So I told him, instead of all women, how about if I have a mixed cast, and I'll place it in modern America. And so he said, "Sure, go ahead." And so, because the problem with the workshop is it's 2/3 women, so how he thought he was going to get 13 men out of the workshop, I don't know. Anyway, in researching the time frame and the play, I found that there was a lot of references to an elevated train. Well, New York, the original play is set in 1957 in New York. And back then there was elevated trains. And now I think there's a small one in Brooklyn or something, but nobody really knows that here out west, so I went ahead and set it in Chicago. Then I come to find out in 2009, Illinois repealed the death penalty. So I had to place it in 2008. That's why these characters are on the wall. Okay, so yeah, it's been real fun adding all the little Cubs references, instead of the Yankees and that sort of thing. A little housekeeping. The play runs about an hour in the first act, then we'll have a 15-minute intermission, and the second act runs about 45 minutes. The restrooms are located right out to the left out here through the blue door, and then you go down to the end of the hall and take a left, and it's at that end. And then there's one all the way across the parking lot to your right. After you get into the other theater, there's a yellow door, just head right. Let's see, what else? Oh, cell phones and other noisemakers. Today I really need them turned off or put on airplane mode or something, because we are filming, if you hadn't noticed it, and the buzz will be picked up on the audio. Let's see, so Ed did decide to produce, well, he's still calling it 12 Angry Jurors, but he's got another production that's made up of men, and that is the traditional play. That will start the weekend. We close this weekend. They'll open on the 20th, and it will run through June 5th. If you come back, your ticket is only $10, or if you bring a friend and you bring this program, you can get in for free. Your friend might have to pay, but you get in for free. And let's see. Well, I think that's all. Anyway, sit back and enjoy 12 Angry Jurors.
All right, let's move it along, people.
Juror 9, where's the bus? 8. Foreman. Number 12. Juror 3. Juror 4. Number 7.
Number 10.
Number 5. Number 11. Number 2. Oh, no thanks.
You know something? I looked at the weather this morning. It's supposed to be the hottest day of the year today. I think they just air conditioned the place. I nearly dropped dead in the court.
Okay, folks, everyone's here. If there's anything you want, I'm right outside. Just knock.
Never knew they locked the door.
Yeah, sure they locked the door. What'd you think?
I don't know. It's never occurred to me.
Hey, what's that for?
Well, I figured we might want to vote by ballot.
Hey, great idea. Maybe we could get him elected senator.
How'd you like it?
Oh, I don't know. It was very interesting.
Yeah?
I was falling asleep. Well, I mean, I've never been on a jury before.
Really? Oh, I've been on juries, and it always amazes me the way those lawyers can talk and talk and talk. I mean, even in a case as obvious as this one. I mean, have you ever heard so much talk about nothing?
Well, he has a right, doesn't he?
Sure he has a right. I mean, everybody deserves a fair trial. That's the system, and I am the last person to say anything against it. But you know, sometimes I think we'd be better off slapping these tough kids down before they cause trouble. Save us all a lot of time and money.
Hey, Foreman, how about we get started here?
Well, I was thinking we ought to take a 5-minute break. I mean, the old woman's in the bathroom.
We're gonna sit in order?
I don't know.
Not a bad view. What'd you think of the case? It had a lot of interest for me. No dense facts, you know what I mean? I tell you, I think we were lucky to get a murder case. I figure that's what burglary or assault. I think those can be the dullest. Say, isn't that the Sears Tower?
Oh, yes, it is.
Funny, I've lived here all my life and I've never been there. No, this is a goddamn waste of time.
Yeah, can you imagine sitting in there 3 days just for this?
And what about that business with the knife? I mean, asking grown-up people to believe that kind of bullshit?
Yeah, well, you gotta expect that. I mean, you know, knowing what you're dealing with.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. What's the matter? Got a cold?
And these hot winter colds can kill you. I can barely touch my nose. You know what I mean?
Well, your horn's all right. Now check your lights.
Anything new going on in the world? I didn't get a chance to check the paper this morning.
I was just wondering how the market flows.
Oh, I wouldn't know. Say, are you on the exchange or something?
I'm a broker.
Oh, that's beautiful. The AC is broken. Somebody take a letter to the mayor. Dear Stingy.
Let me take a look at it.
I run a messenger service called Lovette and Call Company. Name's my idea. I employ 37 people started with nothing.
Oh, that's better be fast. I got tickets to the game tonight.
You do?
Cubs Cardinals.
Oh.
I think we got this new kid pitching Zambrano. Oh, my future ex-husband. It's a real killer show. Oh, real powerhouse.
Well, you really are a ball fan, aren't you?
Hey, Foreman, let's go. What do you say?
All right, folks, let's take our seats.
Well, where do you want us to sit?
Well, I was thinking we ought to sit in order by juror number. 2, 3, 4, and so on. If that's okay with everyone?
What's the difference?
I think it's reasonable to sit according to number.
Oh, fine.
It doesn't work either. Sorry, folks. Got your tax dollars at work.
Color me surprised.
What was your impression of the prosecuting attorney?
I beg pardon?
I thought he was really sharp. The way he hammered home his points one by one in logical sequence. He was on top of his A game. I was very impressed.
Yes, I think he did an excellent job.
Oh, and he had a lot of drive too, real drive. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, let's get this over with. I mean, I'm sure we all have things to do.
How about sitting down? The lady at the window. How about sitting down? I'm sorry.
So what do you think of that, huh? Kid killing his father. Bang! Just like that, huh?
Well, if you analyze the figures on domestic violence.
Oh, what figures? It's these people, I'm telling you, they let their kids run wild. Well, maybe it serves them right. Hey, you know what I mean?
Hey, you a Cubs fan?
No, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee? That's like being hit up in the head with a crowbar once a day. Who they got? I mean, I'm asking you who they got.
I'd like to get
Oh,
going.
besides great
Is this
ground
it there?
I'm sorry.
Right? You folks can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to have any rules. If we want to discuss first and then vote, that's one way. Or we can vote right now to see how we stand. Well, that's all I have to say.
I think it's customary to take a preliminary vote.
Yeah, let's vote. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
It's up to you, just let's remember we've got a first-degree murder charge here. If we vote guilty, we send the accused to death row. That's mandatory.
I think we all know that.
Let's vote.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Anyone just want to vote?
That was easy.
All right. This has to be a 12-0 vote. Either way. That's the law. Okay. Are we ready? All those voting guilty, raise your hands. 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11 for guilty. Okay, not guilty. 1. Right. Okay. 11 to 1. Guilty. Now we know where we are.
Damn it all, you know there's always one.
So what do we do now?
I guess we talk.
Shit.
I mean, look, do you really think he's innocent?
I don't know.
I mean, let's be reasonable. You sat in court and heard the same things that we heard. The man is a dangerous killer. You can see it.
The man, he's 19 years old.
That's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest.
Well, I mean, it was pretty obvious. I was convinced from the
I
start.
mean, who wasn't? I really think this is one of those open and shut cases. I mean, they proved it a dozen different ways. Would you like me to list them for you?
No,
Then what do you want?
I don't want anything. I just want to talk.
Talk? What's there to talk about? 11 people in here agree, and no one had to think twice about it except you.
Hey, Lear, let me ask you something, huh? Do you believe that kid's story?
I don't know if I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So, what did you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not easy for me to raise my hand and send a young man off to die without talking about it first.
So who says it's easy for me?
No one.
What, just because I voted fast? I think he's guilty, and you couldn't change my mind if we talked for 100 years.
I'm not trying to change your mind. It's just, there's a life at stake here. We can't decide that in 5 minutes. Suppose we're wrong.
Suppose we're wrong? You could suppose that this building is gonna fall on my head. You could suppose anything.
That's right, you can.
What difference does it make how long it takes? We honestly believe he's guilty. So suppose we finish in 5 minutes. So what?
Let's take an hour. The ball game doesn't start till 8.
Okay, you're on, Slugger.
Well, who's got something to say? How about you?
Oh, no, not me.
I'm willing to put in an hour.
Hey, great. Listen, I heard a pretty good story last night. Okay, so this woman, she goes running into the doctor's office and she stripped it away.
That's not what we're here for.
Well, then you tell us what we're sitting here for.
I don't know. Maybe no reason. Look, this young man has been kicked around his whole life. He lived in the projects. His mother dead since he was 9. He spent a year and a half in foster care while his father served a prison term for forgery. It's not a very good head start. I just think maybe we owe him a few words, that's all.
I don't mind telling you this, sister, but we don't owe him nothing, huh? He got a fair trial, didn't he? What do you think that cost? And he's lucky he got it. You know what I mean? Look, we're all grown-ups here, we know the facts, and you're not going to convince us that we're to believe that kid's story knowing what he is, huh? Listen, I lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. They are born liars.
It suddenly occurs to me that you must be an ignorant man.
What does she mean, huh? What is she talking
What
about?
a terrible thing to believe! Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? Do you think you have a monopoly on the
Hey,
truth?
what are you doing making a federal case out of this for? How you like that?
I think certain things should be pointed out to this man. What he says is very dangerous.
Save it for Sunday. We don't need a Sunday.
Yeah, monopoly for Christ.
I don't see any point in arguing like this. If we're going to discuss the case, let's stick to the facts.
I think that's a good point. We have a job to do, let's do it. Shall we get back to the case?
Well, look, I may have an idea here, just thinking out loud, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this lady that we're right and she's wrong. Maybe if we each took a minute or two to explain our point of view? Just a quick thought.
Sounds fair enough.
Anything, let's start it off.
You in the window. How about you go first?
Oh, well, it's hard for me to put into words. I mean, I just think he's guilty. And I thought it was obvious from the start. I mean, no one proved otherwise.
No one has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. It's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. Maybe you've heard of it?
Everybody has.
Well, of course, I've heard of it. I know what it is. Well, what I meant to say was the man's just guilty and somebody's on him dead.
No reason, just guilty. There's a life at stake here.
Listen, here's what I think, and believe me, I have no personal feelings about this whatsoever. I'm talking facts. At 10 minutes after 12, on the night of the killing, the old man who lived on the second floor directly underneath the apartment where the killing took place said he heard loud noises. He said it sounded like a fight. A second later, he heard the kid yell, "I'm going to kill you." A split second later, a body hit the floor. Then he ran to the door of his apartment, looked out, and saw the kid run down the stairs and out of the apartment. Then he called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
I mean, those are facts for you. You can't refute facts. The kid is guilty. Look, I'm as sympathetic as the next guy. I know he's only 19, but he has to pay for what he's done.
Yeah, I'm with you, sister. It was obvious to me, anyway, that the boy's entire story was flimsy. He claims he was at the movies during the time of the killing, yet 1 hour later, he couldn't remember the name of the movies or the actors who had played in them.
That's right. I mean, did you hear that? She's absolutely right.
Nobody saw him go into or out of the theater.
And what about that woman across the street? I mean, if her testimony don't prove it, nothing does.
That's right. She was the one who actually saw the killing.
Let's have some order in here.
Wait, hang on just a minute. Look. Here's this woman, she's lying in bed and can't sleep, okay? She's dying from the heat, you know what I mean? She looks out the window, across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father. It's 12:10 on the nose, everything fits. Look, she's known the kid his entire life. Her room is right opposite, her window is right opposite us across the L tracks, and she swears she saw him do it.
Through the windows of a moving L train.
Right, there were no passengers on board. It was just being moved downtown, and the lights were out, remember? And in court, they proved that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night when the lights are out and see what's on the other side. They proved it.
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
You don't believe the young man. How come you believe the woman? Isn't she one of them too? Isn't she?
Oh, wait. Well, you think you're as pretty
Hey,
smart.
hey,
Sit down. Don't let her get you. Calm down.
They did take us to the woman's room, and we did see the other side through the windows of a passing L train, correct?
Yes, we looked.
And couldn't you see what happened on the other side?
Not as well as they told me I could, but
Ah, but
yes, I
you-
could see.
But you did see, didn't
Let's
you?
calm down now. It's your turn.
Oh, pass it.
It's your privilege. Do you have anything to say?
Well, I don't know. I started to think he was guilty right from the beginning of the case. I was looking for a motive. Without a motive, you have no case. Anyway, the testimony from the people in the apartments was very powerful. Didn't they say something about the father and son having an argument earlier, like 7 o'clock at night? I can be wrong.
It was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock. They said they overheard an argument, but they couldn't hear what the argument was about. Then they heard the father hit the kid, and finally saw the young man walk angrily out of the building. So what does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the whole picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
You said it revealed a motive for the murder. The prosecution said the same thing. Well, I don't think it's a very strong motive. This young man has been hit so many times that violence is practically a normal state of affairs for him. I can't see that 2 slaps in the face would provoke him into committing murder.
It may have been 2 slaps too many. Everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
How about you?
Me? I don't know. Most of it's already been said. I mean, we could talk about it forever, but this kid's 0 for 5. I mean, look at his record. At 10, he was in juvenile court for throwing a rock at his teacher. 14, he was in juvie. He stole a car. He was arrested for mugging and picked up twice for trying to slash another teen with a knife. It was real quick with the switchblade, they said.
What a fine young man he is. Since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up. He used his fists.
Yeah, so would I on a kid like that.
Wouldn't you call those beatings a motive for him to kill his father?
I don't know. I'd say it's a motive for him to be an angry kid. I'll say that.
You know, it's the kids. The way they are today, angry, hostile. I mean, the way they are, you know, they will listen. You got any kids? 2. I have a boy. When he was 8 years old, I caught him with the neighborhood gang fighting in the street. I mean, after all I had told him about staying away from those gangs, he goes and joins them. Well, I gave him a beating that he wouldn't forget. And you know what? When he was 16, he hit me. A woman, his own mother, in the face. I mean, he's big, you know? I haven't seen him in 3 years. Maybe I'm better off. I hate tough kids. They tear your heart out. Well, go on.
I think we're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're here to determine whether he is guilty or innocent of murder, not to get into all the reasons why he grew up that way. He is from a poor neighborhood. Such places are breeding grounds for criminals. I know it. So do you. It's no secret. Children from such neighborhoods are potentially detrimental to society. Now, I think...
Oh, you can say that again. The kids that crawl out of those places are real trash. I want nothing to do with them, I'm telling you.
I lived in the projects my whole life. I nursed that trash in Cook County 6 nights a week.
Now, wait a second here. Listen.
No, I used to play in a backyard filled with garbage. Maybe it still stinks on me.
Hey, now listen.
No, I don't have to listen. You have to listen to me. There is something personal about what you just said.
Relax. He didn't mean you. Don't be so sensitive.
This sensitivity, I understand.
All right, let's stop all this arguing. We're wasting time here. It's your turn. Let's go.
Oh, I didn't expect a turn. I thought you were all supposed to be convincing me. Wasn't that the idea?
Check. I forgot that.
Well, what's the difference? She's the one who's keeping us here. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Now, just a second. We decided to do it a certain way. Let's stick to what we said.
Stop being such a girl about it, huh?
Girl? Listen, what do you mean by that?
What do you think I mean? G-I-R-L, girl.
What? Just because I'm trying to keep this thing organized? Listen. You want to do it? Here. You sit here, you take the responsibility, and I'll just shut up. That's all.
You get so hot about, huh? You're the one who wanted to be foreman with your recent criminal justice degree, huh? Hey, just calm down, will ya?
Don't tell me to calm down! Here! Here's the chair! You keep it going, smooth and everything. What do you think, it's a snap? Come on, Mr. Foreman, let's see how great you run the show.
You ever see such a thing?
You think it's funny or something?
Hey, listen, take it easy. It's unimportant.
Unimportant? You want to try it?
No. You're doing a beautiful job. Nobody wants to change.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Hang in there and pitch.
All right, already, let's hear from somebody.
Well, if you want me to tell you how I feel now, that's fine with me.
I don't care what you do.
All right. Oh, I haven't got anything all that brilliant. I know as much as you do. According to the testimony, the young man looks guilty. I sat in court for 3 days and listened to the evidence build, and everyone sounded so positive. I began to get a funny feeling about this trial. I mean, nothing is that positive. I would have liked to ask some questions. Maybe it wouldn't have made any difference. I don't know. But I began to feel like the young man's attorney wasn't doing his job. He let too many things go, little things.
What little things? Listen, when they don't ask questions, it's because they already figured out the answers, and they know they're going to get hurt.
Maybe. It's also possible maybe his lawyer's just plain stupid, isn't it?
You sound like you met my brother-in-law.
Look, if I was the kid, I think I would have asked for another lawyer. If I was on trial for my life, I would have wanted my lawyer to tear the prosecution witnesses to shreds, or at least try. There was one alleged eyewitness to the murder, right? And someone else that said they overheard it, and then saw the kid run out afterwards. There was a lot of circumstantial evidence, but really those two witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution. Well, suppose they're wrong.
What do you mean, suppose they were wrong? What's the point of having witnesses at all?
Well, could they be wrong?
They sat on the stand under oath. What are you trying to say?
They're only people. People make mistakes. Could they be wrong?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know so?
Well, now listen, nobody can know a thing like that. This isn't an exact science.
That's right, it isn't.
Listen, can we get to the point here? What about the switchblade they found in the father's
Wait
chest?
a minute. I thought we oughta, there are people here who haven't talked
Oh,
yet.
they can talk whenever they want to. Just be quiet for a second, all right? What about the knife? You know, the one our bright young man admitted to buying the night of the murder. Let's talk about that.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again.
You know what it looks like. Why do you want to see it again?
You brought it up. The woman has a right to see exhibits and evidence. The knife and how it was bought is pretty strong evidence, don't you think?
I do.
Fine. Okay, so suppose we take these steps one at a time. 1, the boy admitted to leaving the building at 8 p.m. after being punched repeatedly by his father.
No, he didn't say punched, he said hit. There's a big difference between a slap and a punch.
After being hit several times by his father. 2, the boy then went directly to a neighborhood pawn shop where he purchased one of those, what do you call them? Switchblade knives, thank you. 3, this was no ordinary knife. It had a very unusual carved handle. 4, the storekeeper that sold it to him said that was the only time he had ever seen that type of a knife in stock. 5, at about 8:45, the young man went to a neighborhood diner and met 3 friends outside of it. Now, do I sound correct so far?
Yes, that's correct.
You bet she is. Now you listen to this woman because she knows what she's talking about.
The boy stayed with his friends for an hour. He left them at 9:45, at which time they all saw the switchblade. 6, all of his friends identified the knife as the death weapon in court. And 7, the boy arrived home at 10 o'clock. Now, this is where the stories between the boy and the state start to diverge slightly. He said he left the building at 11:30 p.m. to go to the movies. He came back at 3:15 a.m. to find his father dead and himself arrested. Now, what happened to the knife? This is the charming and imaginative fable that this boy invented. He said that he went to see a movie at 11:30 p.m. and the knife fell through a hole in his pocket and he never saw it again. Now this is a tall tale, people. I think it's quite clear that he never went to the movies that night. Nobody in the building saw him leave at 11:30. Nobody in the theater identified him. He couldn't even remember the name of the movie he had seen. What actually happened was this. The boy stayed home. He had another fight with his dad, at which time he took his switchblade, he plunged it into his father's chest, and he fled the building. He even remembered to wipe the knife clean of fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case recognized this as the same knife. Now, are you going to tell me that the knife really did fall through a hole in his pocket, somebody else picked it up off the street, and they went to his place and stabbed his father with it, just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying,
Like this?
no, I'm saying that it's possible that the young man lost his knife and someone else stabbed the father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Take a look at that knife. I've never seen one like it, and neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you asking us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not asking you to accept anything. I'm just saying that it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
Look at it. It's like the same knife.
Where'd that come
What are you trying to do?
All right, okay, quiet. Just be quiet. Where did you get that knife?
I went out walking last night just thinking about things. I walked near the kid's neighborhood. I found a little pawn shop just 3 blocks from his building. It cost just $25.
You know, it's against the law to buy or sell switchblade knives.
That's right. I broke the law.
Look, you really pulled a fast one on us here, but suppose you tell us what it means. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
So your point? I mean, you found the same kind of knife. What is that, the discovery of the century or something?
It would still be an incredible coincidence for another person to have stabbed the father with the same kind of knife.
That's right, she's right.
The odds are 1,000,000 to 1.
But it's possible.
But not very probable.
Listen, let's take our seats. There's no point in milling around here.
It's interesting that she could find a knife that's identical to the one the boy bought.
Interesting. What do you think this proves anything?
Well, no.
Interesting. Now, how come the kid bought the knife to begin with?
Well, he says.
I know, he says. He bought it as a present for his friend. He was going to give it to him the next day because he had busted the other kid's knife, dropping it on the pavement.
That's what he said.
The boy did. The friend did testify that the boy broke his knife.
Yeah, and how long before the killing? 3 weeks, right? So how come our noble young lad bought the knife 1/2 hour after his father smacked him, and 3.5 hours before they found it shoved up in his father's chest?
Well, he was going to give it to his friend. He just wanted to use it for a little bit.
That's one of the questions I wanted to ask in court. Why, if he was going to use the weapon on his father, would he show what was to be the murder weapon to 3 of his friends just hours before the killing?
All of that is just talk. The kid lied, and you know it.
Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. Sure, he lied.
Do you think he lied?
You know my answer. He lied.
What about you?
I'm not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure?
I mean,
who are you, the kid's lawyer? Who do you think you are to cross-examine us?
I thought that's what's supposed to happen in a jury room.
Well, there are still 11 of us who think he's guilty.
What do you think you're going to accomplish? You're not going to change anybody's mind. So if you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, go ahead. The kid's going to be tried again and found guilty for sure. Yeah, so what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A boy may die.
Father, anybody got a deck of cards?
I don't think you should be making a joke out of this.
What do you want me to do about it?
Hey, listen, I don't see what all this talk about the knife has got to do with anything. Somebody saw the kid stab his father. What more do we need?
The knife was very important to the district attorney. He spent one whole morning discussing it.
Oh, he was a 15th assistant or something. What does he know about
Okay,
it?
I think we ought to get on with it now. These side arguments are only slowing us up. What about it?
You're the only one.
All right, I'd like to make you all a proposition. I would like to call for another vote. I would like you 11 jurors to vote by written secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there's still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take a guilty verdict into the judge right now. But if anyone votes not guilty, then we'll stay and talk this thing out. Well, that's it. If you want to try it, I'm ready.
Finally, you're behaving like a reasonable person.
Get out of here.
How about that?
Okay, let's do it.
Sounds fair enough? Anyone object? No. Okay, pass these along. Guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
Boy, how do you like that? All right, come on. Who was it? I want to know.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot. We agreed on this.
Secret? There are no secrets in a jury room. I know who it was. You know, you are really something. You come in here and you vote guilty like the rest of us, and then this Mother Teresa over here starts to tear your heart out with the stories about the poor little boy who could not becoming a murderer, and you change your vote. I mean, if that wasn't the most sickening, why don't you throw
single dollar in her collection.
Now wait a second, where do you get the right to yell at me? No, who does she think she is?
It's okay, she's very excitable.
Yeah,
Just sit down.
excitable.
You bet I'm excitable. We are trying to send a guilty man to death row here, and she's telling us fairy tales and we're listening.
Take it easy.
What do you mean, take it easy? Do you want to see a proven murderer walk in the street? Should we get this knife back and make it easier for
Come
her?
on, let's stop the yelling. Who's got something constructive to say?
Please, I would like to say something. I've always thought that in this country, everyone is entitled to have unpopular opinions.
Oh, can we stick to the subject? Hey, what made you change your vote?
Look, if I want to change my vote, it's my own
You know, I
business.
just
But the facts
He
remain.
didn't change his vote.
I did.
I did. Would you like me to tell you why? No, I would not like you to tell me why. Well, I would like to make it clear, and if you don't mind.
Listen to this.
Hey! The lady wants to talk.
Yeah.
Thank you. This woman has been standing alone against us this entire time. She doesn't say the boy is not guilty, she's just not sure. Well, it's not easy to stand against the ridicule of others. She gambled for support and I gave it to her. I respect her motives. Now the boy on trial is probably guilty, but I want to be sure. For the time being, the vote is 10-2.
Well, if the speech is over,
I think
maybe
we have to
can
take a
move
break
on.
now. She's inside there, let's wait for her.
Looks like we're pretty hung up here. That scene with the old lady was pretty unexpected. Gosh, I wish I knew a way we could break this up. You know, in advertising, I told you I worked at an ad agency, right? Well, we got some pretty strange people down there. I mean, well, not really strange. They have peculiar ways of expressing themselves. Well, it's probably the same in your business, right? What is it you do?
I'm a jeweler.
The finest jewelers come from Europe, I imagine. Well, anyway, as I was saying, when we reach this point in a meeting, there's always some character ready with an idea, and it kills me. I mean, it is the weirdest thing sometimes. The way they deceive their idea with some little phrase. Like, some account executive will say, here's an idea, let's run up the flagpole and see if anybody salutes it. Or, here's an idea, let's put it on the bus and see if it gets off on Wall Street. I mean, it is so idiotic, but it's funny.
You know, I just got a little excited. I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't mean to get you now.
Hey, you in sales?
No, I'm an architect.
You know what the soft sell is?
Because you're really good at it. I mean, I've got other tactics. I've got jokes, drinks, knock them on their asses. I made $70,000 last year in my home-based business, and that ain't bad. Say, would you be interested in making a little money on the side? It's a great opportunity.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, never mind that. But you gotta tell me, what are you getting out of all this? Kicks? I mean, the kid is guilty, lady. So why don't we all go home before we get laryngitis?
What's the difference if you get it here or at the ball game?
No difference. No difference at all. Women.
Nice bunch, huh?
Yeah, I guess, same as any, I suppose.
That gal gal, the one that was telling us about her kids, the way she was talking, boy, that was an embarrassing thing.
Yeah.
And it's such a murderous day. Do you think we'll be here long?
I don't know.
Well, you know, he's guilty for sure. There's not a doubt in the whole wide world. We should have been done already. I mean, listen, I don't mind, you know, it needs working. Do you think he's innocent?
I don't know, it's possible.
Well, I don't know you, but I'm betting you've never been more wrong in your entire life. You gotta wrap it up. You're wasting your time, Steve.
Suppose you bring one on trial.
Oh, I don't do much supposing. I'm just a working gal. I'll let my boss do all the supposing. But if you like, I'll try. Suppose you talk us all out of this, and the boy really did knife his father.
Okay, everyone, let's take our seats.
Looks like we'll be here for dinner.
Okay, so down to business. Who wants to start it off?
Well,
Maybe if you profitable. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Pardon me. Oh, no, it's okay. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, this is kind of a small point, but the boy had a motive for killing his father. You know, the beatings and all. So, if he didn't kill his father, who did? I mean, who else had a motive to kill the man? I mean, people just don't go around and kill people without a motive. Well, not unless they're just plain nuts, right?
Well, as far as I know, we're supposed to be deciding whether or not the young man on trial is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. We're not concerned with anybody else's motives here. That's a job for the police.
Very true, but we can't help but let the only motive we know of creep into our thoughts, can we? And we can't help but ask who else might have had a motive. I mean, logically, these things follow. This lady is asking a very reasonable question. Somebody killed the father? If not the son, then who?
Zambrano!
Hey, you're talking about the man I love.
If you haven't got anything to add besides jokes, I suggest you
I'm
listen.
just blowing off a little steam. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, maybe you can answer her. Who else might have killed the father?
Well, I don't know. He wasn't exactly a model citizen. The young man's attorney went over his background in his closing statement. He was in prison once. He was known to be a compulsive gambler and a pretty consistent loser. He spent a lot of time in neighborhood bars, getting into fist fights, sometimes after a few drinks, usually over a woman. He was a tough, cruel, and primitive kind of man that never worked more than 6 months at a time in his life. So here are a few possibilities. He could have been murdered by one of the many men he was in prison with, by a bookie, by a man he beat up, or a woman he picked up, by any number of people he was known to hang out with.
Boy, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. Look, we all know the father was a bum, so what does that got to do with anything?
I didn't bring it up. I was asked who else might have killed the father. I gave you my answer.
The woman over there asked a direct question.
Yeah, everyone's a lawyer.
But, suppose you answer this one. The old man who lived on the second floor apartment said that he had heard the kid yell, "I'm going to kill you!" Then a split second later, a body hit the floor, and then he saw the kid run down the stairs and out of the apartment. Now, what does all that mean to you?
I'm wondering how well he could have heard the kid through the ceiling.
He didn't hear him through the ceiling. The window was open. So was the window upstairs. It was a hot night, remember?
Still, he heard him through another apartment. It's not easy to identify a voice, much less one that's shouting.
He identified it in court. He picked the boy's voice out of 5 other voices, blindfolded.
It's just an ambitious district attorney putting on a show. Well, the old man knew the kid very well, and he would have known his voice. They lived in the same building for years. But to positively identify it from another apartment, isn't it possible that he thought the kid was upstairs and automatically decided it was the kid's voice he heard?
I think that's a bit far-fetched.
You can say that again. You know, that old man, look at the old man heard the father's body fall. Then he saw the kid running out 15 seconds later. Look.
That's right. And let's not forget about the woman across the street. She looked through the open window and saw the kid stab his father. She saw it. Isn't that enough for you?
Not right now. No, it isn't.
How do you like that? It's like talking to a dead phone over there.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a passing elevated train. She said that the train had 6 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. I mean, she remembered the most insignificant details. I don't see how you can argue with that.
So what do you have to say about that?
I don't know. It just doesn't sound right to me.
Well, suppose you think about it.
Has anyone got any idea how long it takes an elevated train to...
Access, you can be a... Hey, wait a second! Who do you think you are?
Hey, take it easy. Come on now, sit down.
I have a good mind to walk around this table and slap her.
Now, please, I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see her? The nerve, the absolute
Hey,
nerve.
don't worry about it. Hey, don't mean nothing, huh?
This isn't a game. Who does she think she is?
Come on now, it's all over. Let's take our seats.
It's not over. I want an apology.
Okay, she's gonna apologize already. Will you just stop?
She apologized already. Now let's hear what the lady has to say.
Thank you. I was wondering if anybody has any idea how long it takes an elevated train traveling at top speed to pass a given point.
What's that got to do with anything?
How long? Take a guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
How about you?
I don't know, 10 or 12 seconds maybe?
That sounds like a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
Yes, I'd say 10 seconds.
Fine, let's say we all agree on 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. If it takes an elevated train 10 seconds to pass a given point, let's say that given point is the apartment in which the killing took place. You could almost reach out and touch the tracks, right?
That's right. I tried it.
Has anyone ever lived next to the L tracks?
Yeah, I live near.
Make a lot of noise, don't they? I lived in a second floor apartment right next to the L line before, and when my window was open and the train went by, the noise was unbearable. You could not hear yourself think.
So you could not hear yourself think. Would you get to the point?
I will. Let's try putting two pieces of testimony together. First, the old man says he heard the kid say, "I'm going to kill you." And
He didn't say it, he screamed it.
And a split second later, he heard the body fall. That's the testimony, right? 1 second later?
That's right.
So,
Now, we all agree that it takes 10 seconds for a 6-car elevated train to pass a given point. So let's say that's 2 seconds per car. That means that that train had to be going past the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, maybe more, before he would have heard the body fall, according to the woman's testimony. So that means that that train had to be going past the old man's nose, just as the kid would have been saying, "I'm going to kill you." It's not possible that he would have heard him say it.
That's idiotic. Sure he would have heard it.
With an L train going by?
Look, the old man said the kid yelled it out, and that's enough for me.
it's enough for me too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it.
Even if he did hear it, he would have been able to identify a voice with an L train going past.
I mean, we're talking about a matter of seconds here. Nobody can be that accurate.
I think a testimony that can put a human being to death should be that accurate.
Look, that's insane. Why should the old man lie? I mean, what does he have to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You keep coming up with these words of wisdom. Maybe you should send them to the Reader's Digest. They'll even pay for them.
What do you think you're doing talking to her like that? Anyone who talks to a little old lady like that ought to have the crap slapped right out of them.
Back off.
And you ought to learn some damn respect. Now you go ahead and you say whatever you want. Tell us why you think the little old man might be lying.
Well, it's just that I looked at him for a long time. The seam of his jacket was torn under his arm. Did anyone notice that? I mean, to come into court like that? He was a very old man with a torn jacket who walked very slowly to the stand. He was dragging his left leg and trying to hide it because he was ashamed. I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant old man who has been nothing all his life. Nobody recognizes him. His name has never been in the newspapers. Nobody knows him. Nobody quotes him. Nobody seeks his advice after 75 years. That's a very sad thing, to be nothing. A man like that needs to be recognized, to be listened to be quoted just once. That's very important. It would be so hard for him to recede into the background.
And you're trying to tell us that he would lie just so that he could be important?
No, I don't think he lied. I think he made himself believe that he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Oh, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up something like that? I mean, what do you know about it?
I'm not making it up. I speak from experience.
This case is based on a logical and reasonable progression of facts. Let's just keep it there.
Well, facts may be colored by the personalities of the people who present them. Let's not forget that.
Oh, I would
Anybody
like one.
want-
Yes, please, thank you.
Say what you like. I don't see how anyone here can still think the kid is not guilty.
Well, I think we've proved that The old man couldn't have heard the kid say, "I'm gonna kill you." But
What are you talking about? You didn't prove nothing at all, man. What are you talking about?
But suppose he really did hear it. How many times does each of us use that phrase? Hundreds? You do that again and I'm gonna kill you. Do that one more time, son, and I'll murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it all the time. It doesn't mean we're really gonna kill someone.
Now what are you trying to pull? I mean, the phrase was, "I'm gonna kill you," and he screamed it at the top of his lungs. I mean, anybody who says something like that, the way he said it, they mean it.
That's the way I understand it.
And how they mean it.
Well, I don't know. I was having an argument with the gentleman that works next to me at the bank, and he called me an idiot, and
There's something else I want to ask you. Why would he yell out something like that for the whole neighborhood to hear? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right, he's just a common, ignorant slob. I mean, you don't even speak good English.
He does not even speak English well.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
What?
Oh, brother, you've got to be kidding me.
You heard me. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
I think there's doubt. I mean, first there's the knife.
Oh, she talked you into believing a fairy tale.
No, she didn't.
Go on, give us the reasons.
Well, and then there's the old man. I mean, okay, maybe he didn't lie. But maybe, just maybe, he did. Maybe he didn't like fading into
well, in fact,
nothing.
isn't the living end. And what are you basing it on? Stories that she made up? You know, you ought to write for Law and Order. You'd make a fortune. Listen, Milwaukee, there are facts staring you straight in the face. And every one of them says that this kid killed his old man. His own lawyer knew he didn't stand a chance from the beginning.
Rookie?
Rookie or not, it was his own lawyer. You could see it. He deserves to die.
He does? You know, it's happened before. That someone was convicted of murder and executed, and years later, someone else confesses to the crime. Sometimes the facts that are staring us right in the face are wrong.
I was talking to him, not to you. Now she is something else. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, right? And the lawyer presented his case, not you. So how come you got so much to say?
The lawyer was court appointed.
Oh, so what does that mean?
Well, it could mean a lot of things. It could mean he didn't want the case. It could mean he resented being appointed. It's not the kind of case that brings him anything. Very little money, no glory, not even much of a chance of winning. It's not a very promising situation for a young lawyer. He'd really have to believe in his client to put up a good fight. And as you pointed out, he obviously didn't.
Yeah, of course he did. Who in the hell could? Come on, would you look at the time?
Pardon me. I have made some notes.
Notes, yes. Notes. Oh, great.
I would like please to say something. I have been listening very closely, and I feel that this woman has some very important things to say. It appears from the testimony that the boy is guilty. But if we might just dig a little deeper.
Oh, come on, will you? Jesus.
I would like to ask a question. We assume that the boy is guilty of murder. He stabbed his father in the chest and ran away. This was about 10 minutes after 12. And how did the police find him? He came back about 3 in the morning, and 2 detectives arrested him in the hallway of his apartment. Now here's my question. If the boy really did kill his father, why did he come home 3 hours later? Wouldn't he be afraid of being caught?
He came home to get his knife. It's not nice to leave knives sticking around in other people's chests.
Well, yeah, especially relatives.
I don't see what's so funny about it.
Neither do I.
The boy knew that there were people who could identify the knife as the one he just bought, and he had to go back and get it before the police saw it.
If the boy thought the knife could be identified, why did he leave it there in the first place?
Well, I guess we can assume in his sense of panic after killing his father, he ran out. And later on, when he finally calmed down, he went back to get the knife.
Well, this depends on your definition of panic. He was calm enough to remove the fingerprints from the knife. When did his panic begin and when did it end?
You can forget all that other stuff. He still came back to dig out his knife and get rid of it.
3 hours later?
Sure, 3 hours later.
If I were the boy and I killed my father, I'd not come home 3 hours later. I'd be afraid of being caught.
Look, you voted guilty like the rest of us. Whose side are you on?
I do not feel I have to be loyal to one side or another. I am simply asking questions.
Well,
This is just off the top of my head, but if I was the kid and I'd done the stabbing and everything, I might take a chance to go back for the knife. I bet he figured no one had seen him and the body hadn't been discovered yet. He probably thought the body wouldn't be found till the next day. After all, it was the middle of the night.
Pardon? This is my whole point. The woman across the street testified that a moment after she saw the killing, that is, a moment after the L train passed, she screamed and then went to call the police. Well, surely the boy would have heard the scream, and he would have thought someone had seen something. No, I don't believe he would come home later if he were the murderer.
Two things. One, in his state of panic, he might not have heard the scream. Perhaps it wasn't very loud. And two, even if he had heard the scream, he might not have connected it with his own act. Remember, this boy lived in a neighborhood where screams were fairly commonplace.
That's right. She's right. Maybe. Maybe the kid really did stab his father. And maybe he didn't hear the scream. Maybe he did calm down 3 hours later and come back and try to get his gun. Maybe all those things are so. And maybe they're not. I think there's enough doubt now to make us wonder whether or not he was even there during the hours that the killing took place.
What do you mean doubt? Did the old man see the kid running out of the building? She's twisting the facts, I'm telling you. Well, did or didn't the old man see the kid running out of the building? Well, did or didn't he?
He said he did.
Says he did. How do you like that? Well, how about the woman? Did she or didn't she see the kid kill his father? You're making out like it don't matter what people say. You believe what people want to believe, and then you don't believe what you don't want people to believe. What kind of way is that, huh? You think these people get up on the witness stands for their health? Let me tell you, facts are being changed, witnesses are being doubted, and there's absolutely no reason for it.
Witnesses can make mistakes.
Oh, sure, when you want.
No, not when you want.
Let's don't start yelling again.
Oh, you keep saying that, but maybe what we need in here is a little yelling. Look, you people are going off every which way. Did hear the scream, didn't hear the scream. What's the difference? It's only a little detail. You're forgetting the important things.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to call.
Hey, listen, I am talking here.
It's not about called for. How about taking seats?
And what are we going to gain from having another vote?
I don't know, the lady asked.
Never seen so much time spent on nothing.
Oh, it only takes a second.
Okay, I guess the fastest way is to find out who's voting not guilty. All those in favor of not guilty, raise your hands. Still the same. 1, 2, 3 not guilties, 9 guilties.
So where are we? What? We can talk about this forever, and it's getting us nowhere.
Pardon? I vote not guilty.
Now, listen, we're going crazy in here or something. This kid is guilty. Pay attention to the facts. I mean, tell them, will you? This is getting to be a goddamn joke.
Vote is 8-4 in favor of guilty.
I mean, we're all starting to fold in here like this punk little kid was pardoned by the president who declared his love your underprivileged brother week or something. I mean, I want you to tell me why you changed your vote. Give us your reasons.
I do not have to defend myself to you. I have a reasonable doubt in my mind.
A reasonable doubt? Those are just words. Now look at this. The kid you just decided is not guilty was seen ramming this into his father's chest. Now look at it, Miss Reasonable Doubt.
That's not the same knife, don't you remember?
Brilliant.
Oh, this is the craziest. I mean, you're sitting here pulling stories out of your ass, and what are we supposed to believe? I mean, what about the old man? Are we supposed to believe he didn't run to his door and see the kid tearing down the stairs 15 seconds after the murder?
Wait a second.
And the Milwaukee fan is heard from again, and pop flies are falling for base hits.
Did the old man say that he ran?
Ran, walked, stole second? What does it matter?
Oh,
He got there.
he said he walked to the door. Or at least I think he did.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could have run.
He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where's the bedroom?
It's down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall somewhere. We're supposed to send someone off to die because it's down the hall somewhere?
God, I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to see the diagram of the apartment again, please.
Wait, why don't we just have them run the whole trial over again just so you could get everything straight?
Now what is
I
this
heard you.
for? I mean, Why are you the only one who wants to see exhibits all the time?
No, I want to see this one too.
So do I.
And I want to stop wasting time.
We're not going to start wading through all that evidence about where the body was found, are we?
No, not unless someone else wants to. I want to know if a very old man who drags one leg when he walks because he had a stroke last year can get all the way from his bed to the front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
No, he said 15.
He said 20. Why are you trying to 15?
He said 15.
Well, how does he know how long 15 seconds is? I mean, he has judged that kind of thing.
He said 15 and he was very positive about it.
He's an old man. Did you see him? I mean, half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
Really?
This is what you wanted.
That's right, thank you. You want this?
Yes, please.
Hey, do me a favor. Wake me when this is over.
Yeah, me too.
I don't see what this is going to prove. The old man said he saw the kid running out.
Well, let's see if the details make sense. He said as soon as he heard the body fall, he heard footsteps upstairs running towards the front door. Then he heard the upstairs door open, and he heard footsteps come down the stairs. He said he got up and went to the door as quickly as he could. He opened it up just in time to see the kid running down the stairs. And he swears it only took 15 seconds. Now, if the killer started running immediately,
Well, maybe he didn't.
the old man says he did.
You know, you should be in Vegas at one of those hair splitters conventions.
All right, baseball.
Some of us would like to hear what she has to say. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. This is a diagram of the apartment in which the murder took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath, and it's exactly the same. These are the L tracks. This is the bedroom, the other bedroom, the living room, kitchen, bathroom, and this is the hallway.
Oh wait,
And
so now we're playing Clue. Okay.
The candlestick in the conservatory.
Yeah, except if we don't get out of here soon, it's going to be me in the jury room with a switchblade.
This is the front door of the apartment, and these are the stairs. The old man was in bed in this room. He said he got up, went out the bedroom door, down the hallway, opened up the front door just in time to see the kid running down the stairs. And he swears it was 15 seconds. That's a testimony, right?
That's the story.
Yes, for the 19th time.
15 seconds, correct?
Correct.
Okay. His bed was near the window. It's 12 feet from the bedroom to the bedroom door and 43 feet to the front door. He would have had to get up, walk 12 feet, open up the bedroom door, go 43 feet, open up the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think he could have done it?
Yeah, sure, he could have done it.
I don't
Yeah,
see
no
why
problem.
not.
He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness
I mean,
chair.
you make it sound like a long walk. It wasn't.
For an old man who had a stroke and dragged his leg, it is a long walk.
All right, this is the bedroom.
Hey, what are you doing?
The bedroom. I'm going to try something. I want to see how long it takes. I'm going to pace out 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You cannot recreate a thing like that.
Perhaps if we could see this, it might make a good point.
Yes, it is. Okay, we'll make this the bedroom door. It's 43 feet down the hallway. I'll pace to that wall, over there, and back again.
You know, this is absolutely insane. What was the big idea of wasting everybody's time here?
You said it would only take 15 seconds. I think we can spare that. (41, 42, 43). Okay, we'll make this also the bedroom door. According to the testimony, the chain lock was on. Does anybody have a watch with the second hand? I do. All right. When you want me to start, stomp your foot. That'll be the body falling, and time me from there. Okay.
No, you must be great at charades.
All right. I'm ready.
Come on, let's go.
I'm waiting for the second hand to get to the 60.
Come on.
That's too bad.
Oh, Jesus, snap it up, huh? You know, he walked twice as fast as that in court.
You are walking much more quickly than the old man walked in the courtroom.
Deliberate.
If you want me to go faster, I will.
Come on, this is deliberate.
Finish, all right.
She just, this is deliberate.
All right, stop, right. What's the time?
See, that's 20, 30, 40.
42 seconds exactly.
42 seconds.
Well, that's interesting.
Far be it for me to call anyone a liar, but even allowing for quite a difference in the speed between the old man and you, there's still quite a
That's
difference.
quite a discrepancy.
All right, I think this is what happened. I think the old man heard the argument between the kid and the father a few hours earlier. That he was lying in bed, he heard the body fall, the woman scream. He got up and tried to get to the door as soon as he could. He heard the footsteps coming down the stairs, and he automatically assumed that it was the kid he heard.
I think that would be possible.
Assumed? Huh. Now you listen to me, everyone. This little display tops it off. I mean, you come in here with your sanctimonious talk about kids from the projects and injustice. You make up some wild stories, and all of a sudden you start getting to some of the bleeding hearts in here. Well, you're not getting through to me. I've had enough. I mean, what is wrong with you people? Every one of you knows this kid is guilty. He has to die. I mean, we're letting him slip through our fingers here.
Slip through our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Oh, well, maybe you'd like to stick the needle in.
For this kid, you bet I would.
I feel sorry for you.
Don't start.
Ever since you walked through that door, you've been behaving like a self-appointed public offender.
I'm telling you now, shut up.
You want this kid to die because you personally want it, not because of the facts you discussed.
Shut up!
You're a sadist.
Shut up! Oh, God damn it! I'll kill her! I'll kill her!
You don't really mean you're gonna kill me, do you?
Anything wrong, folks? I heard some noise.
No, there's nothing wrong. Just a little argument. Everything's okay.
Are you finished with this?
Yes, we're finished.
What are you staring at?
Well, I suppose someone has to start us off again.
It's getting late. Do you think you're going to take us out to a restaurant for supper? Do you not think you're going to let us go home if we don't finish tonight, honey? I know. Well, I have a grandson who's got chicken pox, and he looks like he could be in an ad for Clearasil. It's just
Morgan, this fighting, this is not what we're here for, to fight. We have a responsibility. I've always thought it's such a remarkable thing about democracy that we're what's the word? Notified. We are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide upon the guilt or innocence of another person. A man or woman we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose by the verdict. This is one reason we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank me?
We forget. It's good to be reminded.
I trust we're going to be civilized about this.
No, we're still nowhere. Does anyone have an idea?
How dark it's been.
It's gonna be a storm. It's hot in here.
Excuse me. Don't you sweat? No, I know.
Listen,
That's just bizarre.
I was wondering if maybe we shouldn't take another vote, ma'am.
It's all right with me. Anyone disagree?
I say we have an open ballot. Everybody call out your votes. Let's see who stands where.
Sounds fair enough. Anyone object?
Let's vote.
All right, let's do it.
All right. The last vote was 8-4 in favor of guilty. I'll call for your juror numbers. I vote guilty. Number 2?
Not guilty.
Number 3?
Guilty.
Number 4,
Guilty.
number 5,
Not guilty.
number 6,
Not guilty.
number 7,
Guilty.
number 8,
Not guilty.
number 9,
Not guilty.
number 10,
Guilty.
number 11,
Not guilty.
number 12.
Guilty.
66.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote. There are now 6 people on this jury that think we're going to be sending a murderer loose on the streets. Emotion won't cut it. Why?
It ain't no emotional decision. It's because I don't think it's likely that the little old man heard someone scream, "I'm gonna kill you." And if the kid did scream that he was gonna kill, we got her to prove now that it might not mean he was gonna kill.
I'm telling you, 6 to 6. The crime is being committed right in this room. Some of you people in here are out of your minds, a kid like that.
What does the kind of boy have to do with anything? The facts are supposed to determine the case.
Oh, don't give me any of that. I am sick and tired of facts. You can twist them any way you like.
That's exactly what this woman has been trying to prove. Except you keep shouting at the top of your lungs as if that has anything to do with it. It's hot in here.
Do you want some water?
No, thank you. Look at it, it's gonna rain.
No.
How'd you figure that one out? Tell me, why'd you switch? You don't have a leg to stand on, you know that? Well, I don't feel that way. I think that there were a lot of details that just did not come out.
You're like everyone else. You get mixed up. You know what I'm talking about?
Now listen, I don't have to listen to you, loudmouth.
What's that market got? Looks like it was putting in switch.
Tax dollars at work, folks.
Well, get back them down, will you? Think you can cool things off?
I hope so.
Well, look at it go. Reminds me of the storm we had last November. What a storm. Flooded our basement. It took an extra semester for me to get my criminal justice degree because the flood destroyed my notes and textbooks.
Some rain, huh? Well, what do you think of this thing? I mean, it's even speeding. Kind of surprising, don't you think?
Yeah.
Hey, you know that business where that gal was dating me? That didn't mean anything. I mean, I'm a very excitable person. Where does she get off calling me a public avenger or a sadist? I mean, anybody in their right mind would blow up. She was just baiting me.
She did an excellent job. Excuse me.
Well, maybe she did. But I can't help that sort of thing. I'm a certain kind of person. This topic moves me. But, believe me, I'm sincere.
Fine. We all are.
6 to 6, I'm telling you. Look, isn't this the goddamnest thing you've ever seen, huh?
What are we
telling you? It's a joke.
What are we going to do about it?
Well, those people over there, they're not going to change their minds.
5 of them already have changed their minds. There's no reason they can't be persuaded to change it back.
Yeah, how?
Just by using logic?
Logic.
You should listen to her. She's the only one in here who knows.
You want my opinion?
Go ahead.
I think we should just quit.
What are you talking about?
Quit. Those people over there, it's like they're on some sort of mission or something. They're not going to change their minds. Look, let's just go to the judge and tell him we're going to be here all night. I mean, for Christ's sake, let's just tell the judge we're hung, huh? What the hell do you want? You want me to sit here and waste my time over scum like that?
That is the most ridiculous. You can't just quit. You took an oath in that courtroom.
So?
You can't just quit. It's dishonest. I mean, why don't you just say he's not guilty?
I voted guilty because I think he's guilty.
And now you don't care?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's stop this. I don't see how we're going to get anywhere like this.
Well, I don't know what you want. I gave you my opinion.
I know.
Suppose you don't think much of it.
No, I don't.
We'd like to get going again, if you don't mind.
I'll just be a minute.
A hung jury doesn't mean anything. I mean, they'll just do the trial again with another jury. That's not what we're here for.
What's the difference? Hung jury is what we got.
Look, would you please sit down?
Hey, listen, everybody. Here, let me tell you what I think, huh? We're going nowhere here, so I'm all for taking it into the court right now and declaring us a hung jury.
I'll go with that. Let's take it into the judge. Let this kid take his chances with 12 others.
I don't think the court will accept a hung jury. We haven't been in here very long.
Let's find out.
I am not in favor of this.
Listen, it's clear nobody's gonna change their opinions. This kid wouldn't stand a chance with another jury. We're hung. So let's just take it in.
You still don't think there's any room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Perhaps you don't fully understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean I don't understand it? Who the hell are you to question me like that? How do you like that? I'm telling you they're all alike. She comes over to this country running for her life, telling us what to do, and now all of a sudden she wants to run the show. I'm telling you the arrogance of it.
You calling her arrogant because she wasn't born here? Then I'm calling you arrogant because you were. How do you like
Listen,
that?
Sonny, nobody's going to tell me what else I understand. I'm especially hard.
Cut it out! Can we stop arguing for 2 minutes in here?
We're not going in as a hung jury. Come on, let's get back to work.
I'd like to go over something if you don't mind. An important point that the prosecution raised was the fact that the young man, after claiming he was at the movies during the hours that the killing took place, couldn't name the film he saw or the stars that appeared in it. This woman has pointed that out repeatedly.
That's right. It was the only alibi the boy offered, and he himself couldn't back it up with any details at all.
Putting yourself in the young man's place if you can for a minute. Do you think you could remember such details after an upsetting experience such as being struck in the face by your father?
Yes, I do, if there were any special details to remember. He couldn't remember anything about the movies because he wasn't there that night.
According to the police testimony, the young man was questioned in the kitchen of his apartment by detectives while his father's body lay on the floor in the bedroom. Do you think you could remember such details under those circumstances?
Yes, I do.
Under great emotional stress?
Yes, under great emotional stress.
In court, he named the film correctly and the stars that appeared in it.
Yes, his lawyer took great pains to bring that out. He had 3 months from the night of the killing to the trial to memorize the details. I'll take the testimony of the police officer who interrogated him right after the murder happened when he couldn't remember anything about the movie, great emotional stress or not.
I'd like to ask you a personal question.
Go right ahead.
Where were you last night?
I was home.
And the night before
Oh,
last?
come on. What is this?
It's perfectly all right. Let's see, the night before, I left court and I went home. I went to work. I stayed there for 3 hours. And then I went home and went directly to bed.
And the night before that?
Let's see. That was Tuesday. Tuesday's my bridge tournament. I play bridge.
Oh. And Monday night?
Oh, will you let me know when she gets you down to New Year's Eve 1999? Let's go crazy.
Monday night, I went to dinner and a movie with my husband.
Oh, where'd you go eat?
Gino's, my husband's favorite.
And what movie did you see?
Just a minute. It was like a comic book movie, Batman, maybe? It was called Dark something.
Excuse me. I've seen that movie. It's called The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah. That's right, The Dark Knight.
Who was in Dark Knight?
Heath Ledger played the Joker.
Oh, okay. And who else?
I don't remember. It's not really my taste. It was my husband's choice. He's the one that likes all that kind of stuff.
And you weren't under any great emotional stress?
No.
I think the point is named.
What? Because she can't remember Christian Bale and Michael Caine? Next you'll be telling us that proves the kid was at the movie.
No, but it indicates that no one can prove he wasn't. Maybe the boy did go to the movies and forgot what was in it. It's possible. If it's perfectly okay for this woman to forget a few details, then it's perfectly okay for the boy. Just because he's accused of murder doesn't give him an infallible memory.
You can talk until your tongue drags on the ground. The kid is guilty, period. Know what I mean, my friend? Excuse me, who's got those cough drops?
Oh, I'm sorry. They're all gone, my friend.
Listen, I think we're forgetting something here that I just remembered. That business with the psychiatrist that dragged on forever.
Well, we're not going to talk about all that psycho mumbo jumbo, are we? What a racket that is, filling people's heads up with all that junk. Listen, I got 3 psychiatrists that keep their cars in one of my garage, and all 3 of them are crazier than their patients.
Listen, I'm trying to make a point here. Do you mind?
Yeah, I wouldn't give you a nickel for a psychiatrist's testimony.
Would you let her talk? Afterwards, you can have 5 minutes on the uselessness of psychiatry.
What I was going to say was that psychiatrist definitely stated that the boy had strong homicidal tendencies, that he was, what do you call it, capable of committing murder. He described all those tests, and he said that the boy is definitely a killer type. Am I right?
Right, and I think he said something about paranoid tendencies, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, he said that. Whatever that is, let's not forget we're talking about a kid who always had murder on his mind.
I beg pardon. In discussing
I beg pardon? Why are you always so goddamn polite for it?
For the same reason you are not. It's the way I was brought up. In discussing the murder potential, we must remember that many of us are capable of committing murder, but few of us do. We impose controls upon ourselves to prevent this. The most these psychiatric tests can tell us is that someday a particular person may commit a murder. That's all. They prove nothing.
Then why are they admitted in evidence?
They have many uses, of course. In this case, they added to the general impression the prosecution was trying to create. If we 12 took the same test, they would no doubt find 1 or 2 of us with unconscious desires to kill and the potential to carry them out. But none of us has.
Yes.
To say that a man is capable of murder does not mean that he has committed murder.
But it can mean it. Look, if they said the kid is capable of killing, then that means he could have killed. Couldn't he?
I thought you were the one who said, and I quote, I wouldn't give you a nickel for a psychiatrist's testimony.
Oh, you wouldn't.
Oh, what time is it?
10 after 6. Yeah, look at that rain. There goes the old ball game.
Madam Foreman, can I see the knife, please?
Well, we're still tied up 6 to 6. He's got a suggestion.
I do. Let's get some dinner.
Why don't we give it till 7? It's only an hour.
All right.
There's something that has been bothering me. It has to do with the killing. It was the stab wound, the way it was made, in the downward angle.
Don't tell me we're going to go over that again. I mean, they went over it ad nauseum.
I know. But there's something that still doesn't sound right to me. Look, the boy is 5 foot 7 inches tall. The father was 6'2". That's a difference of 7 inches. It would be very awkward thing to stab someone in a downward position that is over a half a foot taller than you.
Give me that. You're not going to believe it till you see it, so I'm going to give you a demonstration. Somebody get up here. I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's been nice knowing you.
Where are you going?
No. Now, pay attention, because I don't want to have to do it again. So I am 6 or 7 inches shorter than you, right?
That's about right. Maybe a little bit more.
All right? Make it more.
Oh my God! How do you do it?
That is funny. Calm down. Nobody's hurt, right?
Right. No one's hurt.
Now, there's your ankle. Take a look at it. Down and in. That's how I'd stab a man that was taller than me in the chest, and that's how it was done. Go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. No argument. Can I sit down a second? Sure.
And I hate these things. Grew up with them.
Have you seen him use in fights?
Too many times. My backyard, on my porch, the lot across the street.
Switchblades came with the neighborhood I grew up in. It's funny, I hadn't really thought about it. Because you try to forget those things. You don't use this kind of knife that way. In order to release the blade, you have to hold it like this. If you were going to stab someone with a downward angle, you'd have to change your grip. How do you use it? Underhand. Anyone who's had any experience with these kind of knives, they've never used it any other way.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I think we all agree that the young man was pretty handy with the knife, don't we?
Yeah.
Do you think he would have made the type of wound that killed his father?
No, I don't. Not with the kind of experience he had with these things. I think he'd have gone for him underhanded.
How do you know? Were you there when the father was killed?
No. And neither was anyone else.
You're spewing a lot of crap here. I don't believe it.
I don't think we can determine what kind of wound the boy may or may not have made just because he knew how to handle a knife.
I disagree.
That's right. Listen to her. What do you think?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
What about you?
Now I'm gonna tell you all something. I'm sick of it. All of this blah blah and it's getting us nowhere. So I'm gonna break things up. I'm changing my vote.
You what?
You heard me. I've had enough.
You've had enough? That is no answer.
You just worry about yourself, okay?
She is right. That is not an answer. What kind of woman are you? You have sat here and voted guilty with everyone else because you have some baseball tickets burning a hole in your pocket. And now you want to change your vote to not guilty because you just are sick of all the talking.
Now you listen.
You have no right to play with a man's life like that. It's a sick and terrible and ugly thing to do. Don't you care?
You know, you can't talk to
I
me
can
like
talk
this.
to you like this. If you want to vote not guilty, then do it because you're convinced he's not guilty. Not because you just had enough. And if you think he's guilty, then vote that way. Or don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Now listen here, I'm not gonna stand here.
Guilty or not guilty?
I told you, not guilty.
Why?
Yeah, I don't have to stand
You
here and
do have
explain
to.
myself you.
Say it.
I don't have to say anything.
Why?
I don't think you did it.
Madam Foreman, I'd like another vote.
There's another vote called for. Anyone object? Alright. Just put this way as a show of hands. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those voting guilty? 9 to 3 in favor of not guilty.
I don't understand you people. All these picky little points you keep bringing up, they don't mean nothing, huh? How can you believe her, huh? You're an intelligent woman. Well, you're not going to tell me you're not. Come on, you know the facts. For Christ's sake, people, look at what we're dealing with here, huh? You know what they're like. And that one, I don't know what her problem is. All that talk about psychiatrists. Maybe she ought to go to one. Look, let's talk facts, huh? These people are born liars, and no one here is going to convince me otherwise. They don't even know what the truth is. Well, take a look at them. They are different. They think different. They act different. Well, for instance, human life don't mean the same to them as it does to us. These people, look at what they do. I mean, they get stoned, and then they get strung out on crack or something like that, or they're very big drug users, and, oh Christ, look at him, for Christ's sake. Hey, what's that? Slamming the door, and then they get drunk, and bang, somebody's lying on the floor. Well, they can't help it. That's just the way they are, by nature, you know what I mean. Violent. They don't care. Hey, look, where are you going? Hey, listen, while you're in there, why don't you clean out your ears? Maybe you'll hear something. Look, you listen to me. These people are fighting and getting drunk, and if somebody gets killed, somebody gets killed. They don't care. Okay, look, there are some good things about them. I've met a couple that were okay, but that is the exception.
Do you know that you're a sick man?
Sick?
Why don't you sit down?
You little witch, who the hell are you to call me? Well, look at her calling me sick. Hell, she can barely stand up. Look, I'm going to speak my piece here, and you're going to listen.
Maybe if you just calm down.
Calm down, I will like hell calm down. There's not one of them that's any good, not one. Now, let me lay this out for you, self-righteous bitches. They're against us. They hate us, and they want to destroy us. That's right. Well, don't you look at me like that. There's a danger here. They are dangerous, and if we don't stomp on them, if we don't get them down every chance we get, they are going to destroy us.
Oh, for heaven's sake,
They
just
are
shut
violent.
up!
They are vicious. They are ignorant, and they want to cut us up. Yes, that is their intent, to cut us up. This boy we've got on trial, that's one at least, and I say, let's get them before they get us, huh? I don't give a goddamn about the law. Why should I? They don't. Now, I'm telling you.
I've heard enough! We've all heard enough. Sit down and don't open your filthy mouth again.
It's hard to keep personal prejudice out of a thing like this. And whenever you run into it, it obscures the truth. But I don't think any real harm has been done here because I don't know what the truth really is. I don't think we ever will, I suppose. But 9 of us now feel that the defendant is innocent. But we could be wrong. We're just gambling with probabilities. No one can know. But we now have a reasonable doubt. And that is a safeguard that has enormous value in our system. No jury can determine a man is guilty unless they're sure. Us 9 don't know how you 3 can still be so sure. Maybe you can tell us.
I'll try. You do make some excellent points. That last one you made about the boy not being able to make the overhand stab wound that killed his father was very persuasive. But I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. I have 2 reasons. One, the evidence given by the woman across the street who actually saw the murder being committed.
Right on. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony in the whole case.
And 2, the woman described the stabbing by saying she saw the boy raise his arm over his head and bring the knife down to plunge into his father's chest. She saw him do it the wrong way.
That's right. I mean, she's absolutely right.
Now, let's talk about this woman for a minute. She went to bed that night at about 11 p.m., and her bed is right up against the window, and you can see the boy's apartment across the L tracks. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Then, at about 10 minutes after 12, she rolled over, looked out her window, and saw the murder being committed through the windows of a passing L train. She said that the lights in the train went out right after it happened, but before then, she could see the boy in the act of stabbing his father. Now, as far as I can see, this is unshakable testimony.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that is the whole case.
What do you think? How about you?
I don't know. So much to sift through. It's not so easy to organize the evidence.
As far as I can see, I don't even know how we can vote for acquittal.
I mean, you can throw out all the other evidence. The woman saw him do it. What more do you want?
Well, maybe I want more.
Let's vote.
Is another vote called for? Anyone object?
Excuse me. I think he's guilty. I changed my vote to guilty.
Okay, the vote is 8-4. Anyone else?
What makes you consider this one vote a personal triumph?
I'm the competitive type. Okay, here's what I think. I think we're a hung jury. Let's take it into the judge.
I don't understand. You didn't want a hung jury before. You thought it was immoral to have
I don't anymore. I mean, there are some people in this room that are so goddamn stubborn. We'll never get this done. I mean, we'll be here for a week. I want to hear an argument. I say we're a hung jury. What about you? You're the leader of the cause. What about it?
Let's go over it again.
We went over it again. I mean, this madman over here is bouncing back and forth like a tennis ball.
Wait a minute, you have no right to pass any
I
judgment on me.
apologize on my knees if I have to. Come on, let's get out from under this thing.
Maybe if we set some kind of a time limit, the time is now
Quarter after 6.
quarter after 6. Someone before had mentioned 7 p.m. Maybe that would be a good time to discuss whether we're a hung jury or not.
Don't you feel well?
I feel perfectly well.
The reason I asked is because you were rubbing your nose like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you made a gesture that
I'm trying
reminded
to
me.
settle something here. Do you mind?
I believe this is important.
Very well.
Thank you. It'll only take a moment, but the way you were rubbing your nose like that reminded me of, well,
Look. Will you please get to the point?
right now I'm speaking to this one. Now, why were you rubbing your nose?
Well, if you must know, it's because it bothers me a little.
I'm sorry, is it because of your eyeglasses?
Yes, it is. Now, can we get on to something
Well,
else, please?
Your eyeglasses make those deep impressions on the sides of your nose. I hadn't noticed that before. They must be annoying.
Yeah, they are very annoying.
Well, I wouldn't know. I just wear readers.
What's with the optometrist bit?
The woman who testified that she saw the killing had the same marks on the sides of her nose.
That's right, she did.
Just 1 second and I'll be done. But I don't know if any of you noticed this, and I hadn't thought about it until now, but I've been going over her face in my mind. She had those marks and she kept rubbing them in court.
She's right. She did do that a lot.
Now, this was a woman, 45 years old, making a tremendous effort to look 35. Brand new clothes, heavy makeup, dyed hair, no eyeglasses. See if any of you can get a mental picture.
What do you mean, no eyeglasses? How do you know if she wore glasses? Just because she was rubbing her nose?
She had those marks. I saw them.
So what? I mean, what do you think that means?
Listen, I saw them too. They're right. She had those deep marks.
So she had dyed hair and marks on her nose. What does that mean?
Could those marks be made by anything else other than eyeglasses?
No, they couldn't.
What mark? I mean, I didn't see any marks.
I did. It's strange, but I didn't realize it before.
Well, I mean, what about the lawyer? Why didn't he say anything?
There were 12 of us in here focusing on this case.
Okay.
11 of us didn't think of it either.
Okay, Miss Gloria, all right. But what about the district attorney? I mean, you think he'd allow a thing like that, ever testify without glasses?
Have you ever seen a woman who's supposed to wear glasses and doesn't want to?
My wife. Let me tell you what, we leave the house, off her face, and in her purse they go. And then we go down the street and she just sort of bounces up all the cars and mailboxes.
Well, maybe the district attorney didn't know either. Okay. She had marks on her nose, I'll give you that. From her glasses, right? Never wore them out of the house, so everybody thinks she was gorgeous. But when she saw the kid kill his father, she was home, alone. That's all.
Do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears glasses to bed.
I think it's logical to say that she wasn't wearing them either while she was lying in bed, tossing and turning and trying to fall asleep.
How do you know?
I don't know, I'm guessing. I'm also guessing that she didn't put them on when she casually looked out the window. She herself said that the murder took place just as she glanced out the window, and a split second later the lights went out. She wouldn't have had time to put on her glasses.
Wait a second.
And I'm also guessing that she honestly thinks she saw the kid kill his father. But I'm saying she only saw a blur.
She only saw a blur? How do you know what she saw? What kind of glasses she wore? I mean, maybe she was farsighted. Maybe she wore sunglasses. What do you know about it?
I only know that the woman's eyesight is now in question.
She had to identify a person 60 feet away in the dark without glasses.
I don't think we could send a man to death with information like this.
What are you saying? Don't give me that.
Well, it's true.
I don't think she would have had time to put on her glasses.
I think it's possible you made a mistake.
I think she might have made a mistake too. Don't you? No, I don't. You don't think it's possible? No, it's not possible. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah. I changed my vote to not guilty.
Do you still think he's guilty?
Yeah, I think he's guilty, but you smartasses, you can do whatever you want.
How do you vote?
Not guilty.
You son of... I say he's guilty! Does anyone else still think he's guilty?
No. I'm convinced.
What do you mean?
I now have a reasonable doubt.
I count 11 to 1.
I mean, what about all the evidence? I mean, all the stuff, the knife, all the whole business.
What about they can throw it all out? You said that it wasn't important.
You're alone. I don't care if I'm alone. I have a right. Yes, you have a right. I say he's guilty. We want to hear your arguments. I gave you my arguments. Well, we're not convinced. We want to hear them again. We have as much time as it takes. Everything. Every single thing, and I mean everything that went on in that courtroom says he's guilty. Do you think I'm an idiot? You lousy bunch of bleeding hearts. You don't intimidate me. I have a right to my opinion. I can stay in this goddamn room for a year. Will somebody say something? Let's take the stuff about the old man. The old man who lived there and heard everything. And the knife. So what? She found another one like it. The old man saw him right there on the stairs. What's the difference how many seconds it took? What's the difference? I mean, every single thing. The knife falling through a hole in his pocket? You can't prove that he didn't get to the door in time. I mean, you can hobble around here all you want, but you can't prove it. Every single thing that went on in here has been twisted and turned in here. I mean, that business about the glasses? How do you know she wore glasses? The woman testified in court. I mean, what more do you want? That's all. And that stuff about what the kid yelled? The phrase was, "I'm gonna kill you!" That's what he said to his own father. I don't care what kind of man that was. It was his father. That goddamn rotten kid. I know him. What they're like, what they do to you, how they kill you every day. My God! Why am I the only one who sees? Why doesn't anybody see? Jeez, I can feel that knife going in. He's not your son. He's someone else.
Let him live.
All right. Not guilty.
We have a verdict.
All right, people, take your seat in the jury box and don't forget your belongings.
Thank you.